Hello everyone, Don with Resolute Outdoors here. So last year I was involved in a car wreck. Thankfully no one was hurt seriously, but my car was totaled. I wasn't at fault, but my car ended up being totaled. So kind of today I wanted to go over, after having some time time after the wreck to kind of think things over and kind of process things. Wanted to kind of give an after action report to kind of go over some preparedness items and lessons learned from having gone through this experience, in case you've never been there before or haven't been in a car wreck yourself. So the first big thing that I learned going through this process was that anything that you don't have either in a pocket or tied down is going to move around. I had my phone. It was a magnetic holder on my dash. It was a pretty robust magnet. Didn't really fall around or get knocked out very easily. But my phone had went flying, and I had to find it on the bottom of the floor. Not a big deal, but if there's a situation where I needed to access that phone in a quicker time period, or I was pinned and I couldn't bend over, it would have been important to have that in my pocket or have it some way where it was more securely attached to not fly around. Also, kind of along those same lines, one of the other people involved with the crash, he had lost his glasses because he didn't have a strap on his glasses. Most people don't. But he had to go back through 2 lanes of traffic on the highway, once or twice to look for this pair of glasses, because he just really didn't seem like he could really operate his phone or do much without them. He must have had pretty significant corrective lenses in them. So if there's something like that, like even if you have a glass breaker or a seatbelt cutter that's important to you, that you think you're going to need in a wreck, it's something that you should have in place that's stowed away. It's easy to access, but something that's not going to fly around and fly on the floor of your car. The second big takeaway from the accident is that day I didn't have a jacket on. It was a colder day, but I didn't have a jacket on. Now, I had a jacket in my car that I kept. It was something that I typically keep in my vehicle in case a situation arises where I need a jacket. But I had the jacket stowed away in the wheel well for the spare tire in the back of my car. Now, I was hit in the back of the vehicle. I didn't think I could hit the back trunk of the car. So to get to that coat was very difficult. I had to climb through the back seat, open up this flap that opened up to the rear of the vehicle, and try to reach around and grab it. Now, luckily, the coat was on top, but if it would have been buried down more deeply, it would have been a lot harder to access. So if there's something like that that you think you might need right away, you try to locate those things maybe closer to the center of your vehicle if possible, or just think of different ways that you can access them if a situation occurs where maybe one door or multiple doors is inaccessible, or your trunk, where you might have to find a different way to access the supplies or tools that you stored in your vehicle. My third big takeaway from the wreck was that even though you can go through the police and get all the information about who's involved and their insurance and their registration and things like that, it's better for you to go around when you can, especially when no one's hurt and there's no one going in an ambulance or anything like that. But be able to get pictures of those things. So I have picture records of all the license and registration of the people involved and their insurance information. So you can call and maybe get the ball rolling on your insurance claim quicker. And then you're not reliant on waiting for the police to compile their police report, and then going to call them and then wait to get a report from that and then pass it on to your insurance. Especially when you're dealing with insurance, it can be a headache as it is. So being able to have more information up front for them, I think, was something that was really valuable for me. The next big thing that I take away from my wreck is that you need to call 911. This sounds kind of self-explanatory, but I think maybe we have this mindset where someone else is going to call 911. A passerby on this major highway is going to call 911, or maybe some of the other people in the wreck are going to call. But the sooner you call, especially if you're calling, the sooner you call, the sooner those emergency services can be there to assess if someone does need help. Now, in our case, no one needed help, but they were able to clear wreckage off the road. Make it so if someone needed to access something from their vehicle, that they could maybe stop traffic and get to the vehicle safely. So it's really important to get EMS on scene right away. If 911 gets multiple calls, I'm sure they'll just tell you, hey, we already received a call about this incident. So make sure you take initiative, you call right away, just because you want to get that ball rolling as soon as possible. The next big takeaway I took from this experience was that make sure you have a firm address of where they've taken your vehicle. Now, in talking to the chief of police, they had called, the person that they preferred to use for these incidents on this highway here in the town that I was in. And, I thought they knew the garage they were talking about. They said, hey, we're going to take it to this garage. And I was aware of the garage, so I didn't really ask any more details because I knew who it was. But it turns out that that's not the garage they took it to. There's either miscommunication where I heard the wrong name, or the guy misspoke, or something happened where I thought it was going to go through my conversation with the chief of police was not the place it actually went. So in the future, I'd really recommend talking to, even the truck driver, if you can get access to them, and say, like, where is the physical address this is going to be taken? Because you need your insurance adjuster to come out and look at the vehicle. You need to go there to gather your belongings, and you obviously need to know where your vehicle is if a situation like this occurs. The next big takeaway, speaking of insurance, is that make sure you know what kind of coverage you have. Now, obviously, if it's your primary vehicle that you rely on for your job every day, you definitely need to make sure you have full coverage unless you have money out of pocket to buy a new vehicle. So make sure you have full coverage on that, but also make sure that you know what kind of insurance policy you have for your rentals. So for me, I had an SUV that was damaged and obviously ultimately totaled, but the only coverage I had through the insurance was a full-size sedan for my rental. So I got to rent a full-size sedan through them that they paid for, but if I had needed the four-wheel drive or the SUV or a truck or something like that to do my job or to get to my job or both, then I would have been out of luck. I would have either had to pay the difference or get a vehicle on my own. So make sure you know with your insurance company what they cover and what they don't, because having a sedan when you really need a truck to do your job is not really going to cut it. So I would just make sure you know what coverage you have and what kind of insurance rental coverage you have on that vehicle. So that's about my biggest takeaways from the wreck. I hope none of you were ever in that situation. It's something that's unsettling, even if you're prepared for it. No one wants to be in that situation. But if you have any comments down below of things that maybe you've had experience with in the wreck, let me know down below. I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is Don with Resolute Outdoors. Until next time, I'll see you.